What is going on, comic fam? It's your boy, the bearded comic bro, and I am joined again by comic creator Justin Richards. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Man, it is good. If you are new to following Justin Richards, like I said, on the show, probably almost close to a year ago, we were just on the tail end. I think the trade for finger guns was coming out or had just come out. And so yeah, gang, Justin's the brains behind Finger Guns, which was one of my reads of 2020. If you missed out on that,
Thank you.
y'all are dropping the ball and you need to, step up your comic book game. So how you been? I mean, it's been a while. What's you been up to this past year since we've talked?
Mostly just working on my next comic projects, trying to get some semblance of regular life back, with my son going back to public school and all that good stuff. So it's been a fun year, been busy. I wrote the full script for what we're going to be talking about today, which is my new Kickstarter for a book called I Only Have Eyes for You. I wrote this is my first OGN. I wrote it all in one fat script instead of like 5 issues. And so that was fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like this was kind of ruminating, in your mind when we were talking last time. You're like, I'm gonna have another book coming out down the road. I think in between that, you did a Kickstarter for your comic zine, which
Yeah.
is a really, really cool one as well. That, gang, if you're missing out on this stuff, I don't know what you're doing. You're not watching my content because I'm telling you about it.
Yeah, that last Kickstarter was really fun. That was A Silent Night, is the name of the zine. And it's not currently available anywhere, but I do have like a good stack of them
Okay.
so there, if y'all follow me on Twitter, you, if it goes on sale online anywhere, like that's where I'll inform people of that.
Nice.
So
Nice. So, like I said, last time I had you on, I know you were talking about this Kickstarter project that you kind of just had cultivating in your mind, and now it's here. The Kickstarter is live. So let's talk about it. What is the book that you have created for us because I'm excited and I think the people will be excited when they hear it.
thanks. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too. It's called I Only Have Eyes for You, like I said. This is my take on superheroes. My take on trying to do something original with them that I haven't seen done before. That was kind of the thought process when I came up with the idea, when I was just like, oh, like everything's been done in superheroes for, because we've been telling the same characters for 80 years now through Marvel and DC. And I was just like, what would my twist be if I was trying to do my own Invincible or Black Hammer kind of universe or something?
Yeah.
So it follows a character named Link, short for Lincoln. His name's Lincoln Little because you got to have the double.
You gotta have that alliteration.
Yeah. And so Link, he lives in a world where there are superheroes. He has his world's Justice League / Avengers, which I call the Paladin Pals. Was my take for like the Justice Friends kind of thing, but
Okay.
I had a lot of fun naming characters and creating new original superheroes for this story. But so the Paladin Pals, they're his world's heroes, and he has his favorite heroes, and he wants to be one. He has powers multiple times throughout his childhood, but it's never the same power,
Okay.
and he can never control it. It comes and goes without his know-how or purpose, like intent. So every time he tries to replicate something and be like, oh, it doesn't work, and it takes him so as a kid he doesn't know what's going on, and it makes it a lot more complicated for him as far
Yes.
as he has this dream and it seems achievable, but he can't get it. And so we then quickly jump to him as an adult who has mostly given up on that dream until some incidents kind of force his hand into discovering more and more about himself and his powers. And like the secret twist that he doesn't know that we, the audience, do for the most part, is that it's his powers are reliant on another uh, on a villain that has not revealed themselves yet,
Oh.
and he's never met them before, and so that's why he's capable of any superpower imaginable, and that's why it never repeats. Um, it his powers kind of do what the situation calls for to defeat this villain, and that's it. If he tries to fight any other villain or just do a power for fun or a magic trick or something, it doesn't work. So that's
Ooh.
kind of my little original catch, a little twist on.
So your character has the superpowers that only can be activated when he's in contact or in situations around this villain. And
Yeah.
I like that.
So like there'll be preview. We don't currently have the preview pages up.
Okay.
We're working on them, and like they're going to be coming out. Like the first one should be done today. So like we're going to be releasing them as we get them, uh, and showing the inks and showing the colors and
Mhm.
showing the letters and like kind of letting everybody see the process as we're going through it. Um, but yeah, so we follow the child, like his childhood is the preview pages
Okay.
basically of what we see of it,
Yeah.
uh, and like so his powers like he'll do something that's out of nowhere. But yeah, so like he'll take the power out of a city block and not know how or why, but on the other side of town, something else is going on that affects that villain, and he just doesn't know it. And
Ah,
so
man,
yeah,
I like that. It's such a cool take to have people entangled like that, and that I'm just excited because I feel like there's so many different routes that you can go off of that. And man, that's a
yeah,
blast. That sounds
that's
like it's gonna
what
be so much fun.
that's what excited me about the project when I came up with that idea, because I was kind of like, like who would be like the ultimate superhero? Like what would be the ultimate like plaything that I could do whatever I wanted with? And it's like, well, yeah, he's got 80 power, but he can't, figure it out. And so we get to see Link do all kinds like when I say any power imaginable, I mean any power imaginable. So we're gonna see some really cool stuff that I'm really excited to see. Jimmy, my series artist is Jimmy Kutsai.
Okay.
Uh, uh, he's just killing this thing. Like I don't know if you've seen the art on the Kickstarter
Yeah, I
campaign
went to
yet.
the Kickstarter page and saw the art of young Link, and I think that you showed another character, and yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, we've got some character designs, and then we've got the rewards. We wanted to have those designed and done. And one that you can see, one of my favorites, is this 11 by 17 print that Jimmy did, and it's colored by our series colorist as well, Alex Santalo. Um, and it's featuring Link and this other character, the Passenger. And the Passenger is one. It's a mysterious figure that shows up every time Link's powers activate, and he has no idea who they are, what they are, and neither do we. And so it's a lot of fun to speculate on what their origin is or what their deal is, why they're around, and what they mean to Link and his powers.
Yeah,
And yeah,
that's
you can see like very very dark Silver Surfer kind of take on this mysterious specter that we don't know
it's
anything
such a
about.
cool design, though. I mean, like, yeah, you're getting Silver Surfer vibe, a little bit like Alien vibe. Like, it just, man,
Yeah, I wanted it to seem otherworldly,
yeah,
and Jimmy just killed it. Uh, on he's been killing it on this whole thing. Like one of the reasons why I picked Jimmy as the artist for this project was just his level of excitement for it when I told him the pitch.
yeah.
Um,
How did you
uh,
get connected with Jimmy then, to do the art?
Yeah, we actually met thanks to the pandemic. A lot of comic creators during 2020, we needed outlets, and we were all just trying to figure out what was going on in the industry and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of like DM groups and Zoom groups and stuff. And so there was this Thursday Zoom meeting that I got invited to that Jimmy was on a couple times, and he and I just really hit it off. We're a couple of like dorky stoners, so like the two of us just, we were like, hey, we get each other's vibe, and so we started talking outside of that group, and then just hit it off
Yeah.
even more. And I was telling him about my pitches, and when he heard this one, he was like, "Oh, that's cool." And so his level of excitement in response to it, I was like, "Well, you want to do it because your art's rad." And so yeah,
That's sweet. That's always cool to hear, like just how it comes together. So like, because we were talking, I mean, we talked back in last December, so we were
mhm.
still very much in the thick of everything going on with pandemic world and stuff. And you already had this kind of vision. Were you starting to have character designs by then already in your mind, or were you kind of just like, was that still on the early stages? I'm just trying to piece together kind of like
Yeah,
the
it
process of
was.
how long it takes for a book like this to kind of come together.
Yeah, so it was still early stages when you and I talked back in December. Character like other than Link and um, Jade is the name of our villain.
Okay.
Jade Tempest. She's a badass bitch. If we throw up that design,
Mhm.
she's so cool. We've already designed her final form, and we're kind of keeping that like secret. But she's basically like a Lex Luthor type.
Okay.
She's a big tech genius. Multi-millionaire, billionaire type, like business mogul, badass bitch, who takes no shit, no prisoners, just gets shit done. And she's actually like, there's not a lot of it elaborated on in the book, but she's like, she had like, we do reference it, and she's basically like anti superhero,
Okay.
but she works with them as like a way to make them better at their jobs kind of thing. So it's like a backhanded like, hey, I'm gonna work with them, but it's because I think they're trash kind of thing. So uh it's she's very interesting, like her dynamic and everything is really interesting, and we do get to see more of her origin, like how she came to be uh the person with the ambitions that she has, uh
Yeah.
where she becomes the world's greatest threat that Link is the only one who's capable of stopping. So, um, really excited about her. But those were kind of the only two characters I had in mind
Yeah.
at the time. I knew that obviously I wanted more because I knew I wanted like people to interact with them, and this was going to be a world where superheroes existed, so there had to be more than just one. And it took me a while. It wasn't until the summer when I really sat down. I think like July 4th weekend, really, is when I sat down and was like, I'm going to start scripting this and like making everything. And so I started planning out, okay, well, who are the heroes on this team, and what is this team called? And that's when I came up with Paladin Pals and a bunch of the other people that you'll see. One of my favorites that we have the design done for, and it's up on the Kickstarter, is Time Signature. um, she's my take on a speedster, so like the Flash and Quicksilver and all that. But her speed powers differentiate depending upon the type of music that she's listening to. So she's always got headphones, and she has like a cool battery pack on her back that charges up, MP3 players and stuff. And she's got playlists that say like "work bitch" and stuff like that. And,
That's
uh,
that's awesome. Now, are these playlists like, are these songs that like that like that inspire you when you're writing, or have any correlation to it, or
I currently haven't made the playlists, but I do want to play with it and see. Like, I have my own. Like, when I write, I usually throw on some like either something really instrumental that doesn't have a lot of words, or something that's like really like kind of angry and fuck the patriarchy. Like, I like a lot of hardcore punk when I'm writing, like Turnstile and the Bronx and the Refused. Like, those are some of my favorites for
nice.
writing. And then Nine Inch Nails is a big one as well, because
Okay.
that gives me a lot of like, there's a lot of ambient vibes, a lot of like tracks and things like that there's less lyrics going on to interfere with the words in my head, and then also like the words that are there are ones that are powerful and mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
Nine Inch Nails is one of my favorite bands. Trent Reznor is one of my favorite writers, and so it's just like, yeah, that's
It's
one that I go to a lot.
it's funny the process because like if I'm trying to do just writing something for a project or email for work and I have music on, it's like it has to be instrumental music because otherwise like I'll randomly be typing a Dr. Dre lyric into an email. I'm like, oh shoot, I should not have said that.
Yeah, you're like,
And
I
so
should
it's like
not be
literally just
talking
like
about blunts, 40,
right.
40s and big screen TVs right now. I shouldn't be doing that.
This is a work email. I can't do this. So it's literally just like the soundtrack to Lost is just always playing.
Yeah, I am mostly that way too, and a lot of people are. I've just kind of discovered some things that work where, like,
Yeah.
if it's something that's just being screamed and it's something that's like, you know, revolution,
Yeah.
let's go, like that's something more that like my brain won't pay attention to, but I'll also be like, yeah, like whatever story I'm telling is going to be a revolution, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, so that's
That's
definitely
that's so
part of
cool.
it.
I'm so excited to see like what types of songs get your speedster where she needs to be and
Yeah, it's bit like the time signature, like she doesn't know the full extent of her powers either, and hers,
yeah.
she has a, like, I always, most powers that I like to write have like a caveat to them. I like, oh, this is really awesome, but there's this, kind of thing about it. And so hers is actually, she can never stop listening to music or something bad happens. And we'll see that as well in the book. And that plays a big role in stuff, actually. So time signature, while not the main character at all, is a very important character that we'll get to know more and more about. You get to see her origin as well in
Nice.
some ways. It's pretty fun. I promise it's not all origin stories though.
Well, it's funny though because I was looking at this, as I was prepping for it and looking through the Kickstarter and stuff. A lot of Kickstarters seem to be just like a single issue, and then they'll do another Kickstarter in 3 months or something. Well, this, if correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like it's a 100-page bad boy. Like it's a
Yeah.
big book.
Yeah, it's an OGN, original graphic novel, full length. We're kind of swinging for the fences on it, because the reason people do one issue, two issues, or one issue at a time is because it's expensive to make
Yeah.
an OGN, and so that's why the goal on this is a lofty. It's not the biggest I've ever seen for a comic, but $20,000 is a lofty goal, but it's what it costs to make an OGN, unfortunately.
Right.
If you're looking at 100 pages and somebody gets paid $100 a page, that's $10,000 right there.
Right.
And so it adds up super quick, which is why you don't see that. But we have a lot of confidence in this story, and it's just the way that it belongs. I have plans for 3 volumes with this bad boy.
Nice.
And so it's going to be a lot of fun, and this is just the only way I could see myself telling the story is through full OGNs. I didn't want to play the separate,
right,
one chapter at a time. Yeah, I mean, it would take it for my 3 volumes, if I split it up into 5 each, it would take 15 Kickstarter campaigns to make that full story. And so I would rather just give people the whole product, the whole story, the way I want to tell it, and have it come out the way that I think it's meant to be told. So that's why we're doing that.
It, as lofty as a goal as it is for you with this, like you said, for a comics store, like as a comic fan, it actually benefits them a lot more, I think, because you can get it more of a story for not much more than you pay for most Kickstarter comics anyways. So it's like you're getting a lot more bang for your buck as a collector. So if this is one of those stories, you're like, okay, this isn't going to break the bank to really support a huge Kickstarter. So
yeah, we made sure that the book is still like affordable. It's on the higher end of what you would see for a book of its size, but it's not as expensive as a Marvel trade, and it's going to be about that same length. And yeah, it's it's something that you're getting in on the ground floor of, helping create from the get-go. So that's the nature of Kickstarter generally anyway,
Right.
and that's why part of why I like Kickstarter. I love being involved on the ground floor of something that I see, where somebody's got a dream and I can help make that a reality. That's the beauty of Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like I've been spending my week organizing my comics, and I literally have like just a box now of, oh, these are my Kickstarter comics. And
Nice.
so like it's fun like to be able to look back and say like, oh wow. And now, some of them are going off the publishings and other things like,
Yeah.
it'd be like, no, I was on the ground floor of that. And you get to see a creator and you get to interact with the creators and see kind of their passion and the work behind, what's inspiring it. So
Totally.
I think there's such a cool market for Kickstarters for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm glad to see the more recent success of Kickstarter, as for basically an indie comic publisher in a
It
way.
it literally like Kickstarter is its own indie publisher. Like you've got Image, you've got Vault, you've got Scout, you've got Boom, and you've got Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Yeah, you're not wrong. So many of us are dipping into this well because it's something that's doable. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot
Yeah.
of organization, and a lot of headache and late nights and all that. But it's something that lets you bring any dream of yours to life as long as you find the audience for it. And so, yeah, I'm a big proponent for Kickstarter.
Well, and I mean, I feel like you have an audience already built with a fan base that you created with Finger Guns. And in that story, if people don't know, like it's very emotionally character driven as well, I feel like. And this is sounding very similar to this of like Link struggling with trying to figure out who he is and identity and, trying to figure out why doesn't his life doesn't go the way he wants it to go. And it just seems like it's a very character driven. And I think there's, as a reader, we gravitate towards those, types of stories a lot more often.
Yeah, as a reader, that's what I go towards. And so as a writer, that's what I try to provide. And like, that's why my tag on everything on, Instagram and Twitter and all that is emo comic writer, because emo is short for emotional. And like, and
Mhm.
as much as I do love me some good emo music, like that's more what I mean by emo comic
Right.
writers. I want to have things that are emotionally driven, character driven, journeys that we go through done in the pages of my books. And so you're absolutely right. Like you nailed my hopes for what Link's journey is like, that's why we have the passenger. The
Yeah.
passenger is much more metaphorical than any, than they are anything else, just about, for, the struggles that Link is going through. And that's part of like what I wanted to explore is like, okay, if I wanted to be a superhero and I had all these amazing powers, but then like something took that away, like that's even worse, like your dream feels achievable, but something keeps getting in the way. And so, um, that's when we find him as an adult, he's kind of doing what I was doing before I started writing comics. He's a maintenance guy at a hotel, whereas I was the maintenance guy for like semiconductors.
Mm.
So uh, he's very much, he's got a bit of me in him in that way, of where his journey is like he has these dreams as a kid and then he kind of lets them go, but still hopes in the back of his mind that he could do it someday, but like doesn't know how. And so because he can't figure it out, he's kind of just settled into a typical job that he hates and all that kind of stuff. So
Well, and it's such a powerful story, like, concept, because I haven't checked it out yet, but like the idea of, how often, like, I wanted to be a football player when I was a kid, like, but
right.
that dream was not a reality very quickly in middle school when I'm like, I got cut from the thing because I stink. Like,
Yeah, I
but
think
like to
you
be so close to
you and
like,
I are both the ones that are like maybe linemen if you
yeah,
put on some muscle.
maybe if you can move a little faster, we'll put you on the line. But but it seems like this character is even like it's so close to the dream, but yet there isn't there, and how emotionally that affects us, and like that just
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'm getting excited to read. I'm like, yeah, let's
I'm
go.
glad. Yeah, that's like I'm really excited to tell this story. We have a bunch more characters to share and reveal. Another one that is already revealed. One of one of our favorites is Justice, who's one of the leaders of the Paladin Pals. Been around for a long time, fighting crime, doing their thing, and they are kind of my take on Daredevil in that they're blind and they can see through sound, but I made it again like how I like to go, like it's this, but they have to use like legitimate echolocation, like high pitched screeches, like a bat style. So it's like a little bit even more realistic of like that sonar kind of vision.
So
But
you
like,
could also say it's your Batman.
yeah, in a way, you're not wrong. And so like, yeah, they but like that makes them kind of self-conscious about it, you know, like they don't like to use it a lot. They can't really use it in like day-to-day tasks. So like,
Yeah.
other than when they're fighting crime is kind of their release. Like that's when you know they're able to actually use their abilities and see and kind of do their thing. And their screeches also double as kind of like a canary cry, like a sonic boom. And yeah, you'll get to see that on literally page 1 or 2. Like Justice is who brings us into this world, and so I'm really excited by them. And like they're Link's favorite hero, so like they're somebody that Link aspires to be like and stuff. So like they're somebody that, again, like while they're a kind of another character, they have a certain level of importance to Link and to the story that I'm really excited to show.
Nice. And as you know, don't want to take up too much of your time, but we're talking Kickstarter. And I was looking at some of the rewards. I want to ask you what some of your favorite rewards are. I got super excited because I picked up Finger Guns in the single issues, but I see that there's a double feature where I can get this, OGN that you're talking about, and also the trade of Finger Guns. So I'm like, yes, let's go. This is what I want. So like, I'm excited.
The fun fact about that specific reward tier is that's the cheapest you'll be able to buy Finger Guns. Period. I ended up making it under MSRP, sort of,
Okay.
because I already own the trades, and I wanted to make it something that was accessible and something that people could jump on board with. So it's actually because it retails for $18, and I usually sell them for 20. But between the cost of what the book I Only Have Eyes for You is and what you pay total for that plus Finger Guns, I think it's $15. So it's the cheapest way you can get your hands on Finger Guns right now. And there's only 25 of that tier available. So
less after this video.
Yeah, as I say, I think we've already got 4 backers on that tier, so it is going going. So
yeah. So that's one I'm super excited about. Is there one that like you like when you're creating your tiers that you're like, oh, this is going to be a fun one, or this is cool, I'm glad we got to do this?
My favorite one is we got an exclusive brew of coffee, and that's just, it was something that my buddy Jono co-owns Rootless Coffee Company, who, if people follow comics Twitter,
okay,
you may have seen them around. They're based out of Flint, Michigan. They do really awesome stuff. Their coffee is super delicious. Like seriously, I subscribe to their coffee. Like I am a legitimate like fan of them. It's not just because I know the owner, but
well, now I gotta find out a coffee shop that's right next door to my state. So
nice. Yeah, they're great. They have a lot of like they have like their core run of coffee. I think they started with 4, and I think they've expanded to like they have a decaf now, and they have one that's called There's No X in Espresso, and they just released a double, I don't know if it's double, but like a higher caffeine content one, and it features Too Much Caffeine Man. So like their stuff is really cool. And from the beginning they've hired comic book artists to do their bag art. They have one by Emily Pearson, one by Kelly Williams. They did one by Liana Kangas.
Oh, wow.
That was a limited run. That one's gone, unfortunately. That was called Coast. It was really cool. It was a pink
Yeah.
bag and everything. And yeah, they partnered with I don't know how many people, like, comics and pro wrestling have a lot of crossover.
They
So
do,
some
which
people
is
might know what I'm
super
talking about,
crazy.
right? It's a weird one, but it's like it's true. Like,
Yeah.
for some reason, comic book fans, like half of them love professional wrestling, um, which, like, I'm kind of in between. Like, I grew up watching professional wrestling, loved the WWF when it was around and still a thing. And like, I'll dip my toe in some AEW if I'm flipping channels and I see
Yeah.
it, and I'll be like, oh, Jericho's so weird seeing him older and,
He's
like,
still around.
yeah, like a mega superstar for this franchise where he was like intercontinental champion at best for WWE
Right.
back in the day. But anyway, they partnered. Rootless Coffee did a partnership with Danhausen, who's part of Ring of Honor.
Okay. Dang.
So, like, one step below AEW, and he's got like this massive fan base, and he's got a really cool shtick where he's very evil and, like, he's great. Like, I love his shtick, and we tried to do a thing with him, but it didn't work out. But yeah, anyway, they have all kinds of cool coffee stuff, and they're always, like, innovating and putting out new stuff. They just had like a exclusive, like, Halloween brew and stuff. So anyway, they offered to let us have a coffee, and so Jimmy designed the art for the bag, and it's dope as hell. It's got Link like lifting a car with his powers next to, like, kind of a random villain, and like some coffee bros in the front reacting and stuff. It's super fun, and I got to name it, and it's a ridiculous name of "I only have beans for you." And I redid our logo with coffee beans over the O's and stuff. It was a lot of fun, and so that's the one. Like, if I had to pick one tier that I'm super stoked about, it's that one.
That's so
I
cool.
can't wait for my house to, like, I can't wait for my wife to yell at me because my house smells like coffee because I've got, like, a big box of it.
You're just gonna just soak it in smells of. You're like, oh, your neighbors. I'm like, did a Starbucks move in? Like,
Yeah, they're like, "What are you up to in there?"
what's going on? That's so
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, that's exclusive to the campaign. You can only get it there, and I think it's a fun addition. And, like, any and all of the rewards that you see on the Kickstarter, I've
Mhm.
made available as add-ons as well. So, you can get the tier that you want, make sure you got the book how you want it,
Yeah.
and then you can add on anything else
Oh,
that you want to do.
so
So
like if that's cool, because I was gonna ask, so like if I did a tier, like say I wanted to do the double feature and get, both the books, and then I could add on a package of
mhm,
coffee like that. See, that's cool. See, that's
yeah,
that's what I love about Kickstarters is like that you as the creator of the Kickstarter, you can do cool things like that, and it's
yeah,
awesome.
it's just a lot of freedom,
Yeah.
basically, and that's the coolest thing because there's a lot of gatekeeping in comics, and a lot of, like, even, me, a guy who's, like, I've been blessed to be published with Vol Comics, and I've created another zine on my own, and, I fit the mold of what typically gets hired around. I'm a white dude, but like, even I can't get into, like, past some of the gatekeeping in
Mm.
Marvel and DC and stuff, and so it's nice when Kickstarter provides
Yeah.
places for people who can't get over that barrier to kind of do the thing that they want to do how they want to do it, and keep all the rights to their own stuff too.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
sweet.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've mentioned the double feature a couple of times. I want to make sure people know there's also a kind of like a triple feature. I called it the. I came up with fun names for all of the
Yeah.
tiers that were, like, it's based on, like, as if this is a like an MCU franchise that we're launching, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that's why there's the corner, like, the franchise cornerstone kind of thing, and there's, like, we do have the franchise, which means, like, you get one of everything
Nice.
basically.
And I'm assuming the other one then is the zine, the Silent Night.
Yeah, so it's got all three together. So if you want to get, I call it the emo comics experience. If you want to get that, you can do that as well.
Gang, if you're new, I'm telling you, if you're watching this and you haven't gotten to experience any of Justin's writing yet, I mean, that is a great place to jump into, because it's, like I said, I've read Finger Guns, I've read A Silent Night, and I can't wait to read it. On, gang, this is one to hop in right off the bat.
Oh, I appreciate you and all your support, dude. That means a lot. Yeah, there's so much cool stuff to get there. We have an exclusive print by Robert Wilson IV that I'm really excited about, and then Jimmy's print and the bookmark that's going to be a holofoil bookmark, and we've got more stuff coming that like we're going to release like as the campaign goes. So there's like I don't know if how many people have noticed, but on the two most expensive tiers, which is like the franchise where you get one of everything, and then our big one is a cool one that we don't have an example up yet. I think that's why nobody's backed it, but we're working on that. Jimmy, basically, if you want, you can get a commission from Jimmy of yourself with any superpower that you want, and we'll make you an official member of the Paladin Pals. Like you get like a certificate kind of deal saying like that you're inducted into the Paladin Pals, where like you'll get like an invitation, kind of like what Link gets in the book. So, but those two feature a quote unquote mystery, a mystery prize or item, and that's going to be what we're going to introduce here in like a week or two.
That's neat.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I hope people are down to join us and come along for the ride. And
absolutely, gang. If you're watching this, if you're listening to it, podcast, whatever, however you're consuming this interview, gang, go to the Kickstarter, support it. The links are of this Kickstarter are in the description of the video, in the description of the podcast. Same with all of Justin's links that you can follow along on social media, so you can stay up to date with, because you tease stuff all the time on your Twitter of like, oh, hey, here's something. I just saw you posted something, some art stuff yesterday, I think it was, on your Twitter. So like, it's a really great way for fans who are wanting to back and be a part of it to just follow along with what's going on.
Yeah, Twitter, like I'm trying to, like during the campaign, I'm trying to be better about like including Instagram and the occasional Facebook posts. I really hate going on that place. But yeah, Twitter is a great place to follow me if you do want any kind of info on my work. That's where I post constantly. I mean, you'll also have to deal with like my stupid takes on other shit, but in between, yeah, I love throwing out art and kind of talking about things that I'm working on and teasing and that kind of stuff. Like, so if you're a fan of mine or my work, or if you want to follow more on this campaign in particular, that's definitely a good place to be. Like that's where we'll definitely unveil like all the rewards as they come out. And on Twitter specifically, I plan on trying to do like, they have that new Spaces feature, which is kind of like like a live Instagram thing or something, and kind of like that Spotify Green Room app.
Right.
I want to do some of that and let people like directly ask me questions about the book and the characters and all that kind of stuff. Cool. So if you keep your eyes there, like that kind of stuff will pop up. So you'll have a chance to ask me, anything you want about all these characters and some of the ones that haven't been revealed yet. I'll give y'all a little tease. One of my favorite characters, like conceptually, that we haven't released yet, is his name's Dog Whisperer, and he's kind of my take on Aquaman. In that he's like got this ridiculous he doesn't talk to fish, he talks to dogs, and he does so only in whispers, because again, I have to have like a ridiculous caveat for every set of powers I create. But yeah, so he has like a network of dogs that help him fight crime, and he's also like a veteran member of the Paladin Pals that's been around for a long time.
So good.
And yeah,
I'm envisioning just a dude just.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When we meet him, he's like doing some training and stuff with the dogs, and so like we'll definitely get to see him in some action. And I have like some fun running gags with it because he's kind of like, with Aquaman for the longest time. Aquaman was just like the butt of jokes, and
Right.
so that's kind of him. He's kind of like curmudgeony and like mad at like how long he's been around and like how he's always the butt of the joke because he's a dude that just talks to dogs and stuff like that. So and like I've got running gags with him of like he has like this network of dogs that he works with, and I have like he's changed the name of it throughout the decades that he's been a superhero. And so like people will be like, oh, I thought it was this, like, what's up with this? And he's like, I told you it's not called that anymore. And so like I've got this thing where like you get to keep hearing like all the ridiculous pun type names that he has for his network of dogs and stuff.
That's so good.
Yeah. So that's just one more. We've got, we've got a full team of the Paladin Pals, and some at least one or two junior like throwaway villains that you'll get to see and things like that. So it's gonna be a fun universe to discover, I feel.
I'm excited. I'm hooked. Gang, I hope you are as well. Justin, before I let you go, is there anything else that you want to mention that you got going on? Or I know we obviously you're focused on the Kickstarter right now, but is there anything else that you kind of just want to just mention?
Uh,
And if not, that's fine. I just
Not
always
really.
like to
I mean, uh, go check out Finger Guns if you haven't. And like I said, you can do that. The cheapest way you can do that is on this campaign. But that one, that book, I hold dear to my heart. It's my first published work alone, but it's also just a story that I truly loved to tell, and I love hearing people's reactions and stuff. So like, I guess that, and just like come on Twitter with me because I love interacting with the fans and stuff. So like I don't know how many times people have tried to like interact with like Scott Snyder and all that, and like you kind of get the usual like, hey, I have 80,000 people telling me that they like my work, so sorry, but maybe next time.
right.
I'm not that way. I think I respond to every tweet I get, or at least I try to,
Yeah.
and so like anytime that somebody likes to talk about comics or my comics, and especially of course I love hearing about my own shit. I
Absolutely.
love
Yeah,
love
right.
talking to people. So I'm it, like he said, it'll be in the description, but it's
Yeah.
at emo comic writer, like I said earlier, and
Yep.
you can follow me on Twitter and all that, and I love interacting, so feel free to come on, ask me questions, do whatever, like let's have fun.
Yeah, and gang, if you had fun with this interview, I'll have linked in the video as well. The first time Justin came on, where we did a lot of deep dive into finger guns. So if you haven't gotten to read finger guns and you want to know a little bit more about that, if you're back in the Kickstarter tier and stuff like that, we talk about Silent Night on there as well. So you can go and hear a little bit more about both those projects as well.
Mm-hmm.
But gang, with that being said, hopefully you can find some time to curl up, grab a book, and nerd out. Peace.